Indigenous protesters faced off with the Brazilian police on the 30th of May. One of the busiest highways leading into Sao Paolo was blocked with flaming barricades. In an attempt to try and clear the road, the police resorted to firing tear gas at the protesters. The indigenous protesters responded by firing arrows. The protest is in fact against a proposed bill that seeks to limit the indigenous people's ability to win protected status for their ancestral lands. Our next report gets you the details.
Hundreds of Guarani indigenous people shut down one of the busiest roadways leading into Brazil's most populous city, Sao Paulo, on Tuesday morning. Indigenous members, clad in feathered headdresses with their bodies and faces painted black, clashed with Brazilian police trying to clear the highway. Using their rudimentary bows and arrows, they confronted police, who shot tear gas into the crowd of demonstrators.
We are in a national protest with the original people of this territory. Today, in the name of Brazil, we are fighting for life. Here are my people, the Guarani people, fighting, saying no to the law of death, saying no to the law of destruction, saying no to the time frame.
Indigenous groups from across the country have planned a week of protests outside the Congress in the capital, Brasilia. By midday on Tuesday, though, the highway was cleared and reopened. But backups persisted and progress was slow for thousands of motorists affected by the blockade.
They threw a lot of arrows at the police, and we even picked up some arrows here on the road. Everything has been resolved for now, and the highway is free again.
The protests were triggered by the Congress' decision to vote on a legislation, Bill 490, that stipulates an indigenous group could only have their lands recognized if they were occupying the land before 1988, the year Brazil's constitution came into effect. Activists and indigenous leaders consider the bill controversial, because many indigenous people had already been expelled from their lands before this cutoff date. The new bill will impact hundreds of territories under evaluation, besides exacerbating the problem of illegal logging and mining. Presently, some 300 different ethnic groups inhabit 730 territories that they consider ancestral lands, mainly in the Amazon forests. President Lula da Silva, in a positive first step last month, fulfilled his election promise by recognizing 6 indigenous territories. The road ahead, though, is a long and arduous one, considering indigenous leaders want him to protect some 300 more territories. Will President Lula stand tall and deliver and not buckle under the pressure from the powerful agricultural lobby?
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of World at War. And if you want to reach out to me with any comments, feedback or suggestions, you can do so by reaching out to me on the Twitter handle that you see on your screens. I'm your host, Mohammed Saleh, and I'll see you again next week.